Yeah, so the last update I got was through I'm going to say a anonymous new member of our Patreon community. They may have accidentally turned the three-way tie into a now two-way tie.
Oh,
Okay.
that's good.
So it got narrowed down, and my first thought was, oh, good. Well, if it's a two-way tie by the end of the poll, that's just going to make it easier for me to split up the wheel and spin.
Yeah, there you go.
Because listen here, you little shits, I will not be out-memed on my own fucking show. That's not happening. You have just decided chaos was the realm of choice now.
Let's go.
The secret is it always was.
Yeah. I bought the parts. Soon. The wheel will be rehabilitated. It will be resurrected anew. And it will decide your fate. Unless somebody randomly decided to, split that vote last minute and now I don't have to.
Yeah, that'd be cool, though.
That would be cool if the patrons would actually make a fucking choice once. Instead of just no, chaos, me.
I don't know. They make some pretty bold choices when it comes to clans. It's never who we think it's going to be.
This is true.
Never, not once.
But, hey, welcome to Blank Bodies, a Vampire the Masquerade V5 tabletop and horror podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and as always, I'm joined by...
John, it's me.
Yeah, and it is Sarah, and guess what it is right now? Guess what it is?
Approximately 9/11.
Oh, shit! Never forget, it's also Hunter Month.
It's true.
Yeah, it's become Hunter Month.
And technically, we accidentally started it last episode.
I was setting up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
But yeah, so Sarah, last episode, went and taught us all about the real Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, I'm going to be teaching you about the fake one, or more specifically, the Society of St Leopold.
Woo!
So,
insert all your hot priest gifts here.
Yeah. There's also a little content warning. We are going to be talking about religion. So there will be some, philosophy, theology discussion, because they are a big group and there are multiple opinions within it. Yeah. There's also a little bit of torture, a little bit of burning people alive at the pyre, but...
I mean, it's the Catholics. It's kind of hard to discuss Catholic history without talking about the torture and the burning and the genociding.
We are talking about more inquisitors.
Yeah.
Bit of a spoiler there, I guess, if you've never. But my sources today are Hunters Hunted, the Inquisition, and the Second Inquisition. Wow.
Amazing. Shocking.
I will say, for those of you who have the Second Inquisition book, I love that book. It gets very complicated with its organizational charts and the way all of that is grouped. So we will talk about that a little bit at the end, but I have left that a little bit up. I left a little mystery there, because I can't draw a chart to explain how everything is now interconnected. And also, most vampires are going to hear stories of the stuff that I'm talking about today. But the more modern information might be good to keep as a fun surprise for them. So I kind of tried to design this in a way that helps you write stories and engage with them in stories, but without giving away the big stuff. So
yeah, it's a struggle to do that sometimes, but I'm excited.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right, so we're starting with the founding of the Society of St. Leopold. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we covered the real history of the Inquisition last episode, and that's where we're picking up right at the beginning of that. The Inquisition is in full swing, and as the church makes a stand against the Cathars and their other heresies.
Did you hit a vape while we're talking about the slaughter of entire religious populations?
No. Yeah, he's just getting in the mood.
He's getting in that mood. Too bad.
You gotta have that strong burning sensation in your lungs when talking about the Inquisition. Lord knows they did.
We should got one of those. What is it called? That incense burner. That's the orb on the chain that they swing.
Oh, a censer.
Yeah, is that really called a censer?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it's spelled weird though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, get that real cathedral vibe with the frankincense and the myrrh.
SENSER instead of SOR.
All right, Inquisition is going. There's investigation. Cathars are afoot.
Yes. And there are some hints. We'll talk. I might bring it up a little bit later. I kind of skipped it. There's some hints that the church or Christendom in general may have dealt with supernatural before this, obviously. but the first time that it's really believed that the two directly interacted is during the Cathar Inquisition. Some believe that the Inquisition first learned when members of Clan Bruja, who sided with the Cathars because of their revolutionary anti-taxation stances, were the ones that were discovered. So, they're chasing out the Cathars, and then they're like, wait a minute, these Cathars are really strong. These Cathars are vampires.
This guy's really yoked and he has a flyer?
Yeah. It was either
Flyers.
It was either that, or it was the Garu, whose more pagan beliefs and families would have been seen as heretical and illicit. And so while chasing them out, they're like, wait a minute, these pagans are very strong and werewolves.
Why did they turn into wolves?
It was one or the other. They did leave that kind of up in the air, which came first.
Could have been a little column A, column B, kind of depending on where you are. Also in Europe, which it's a big place. If you think about it, Europe, all of it, yeah.
We'll talk about it more in a little bit, and we can circle back at it for final thoughts. But I will say this is mostly going to be for vampires and werewolves are the ones that are going to come up the most here. Other supernaturals we can talk about, but most of them are very quick. There's not a whole lot there.
Yeah, because kind of yes-anding the historical occultic understanding that we talked about in the first Inquisition episode. A lot of mages probably slid under the radar because they probably were rich guys.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just kind of like, well, I mean, that guy is actually a wizard.
But he also has a lot of money.
He also has an army. And then the Fae and the Changelings are just like, now was like, well, I guess with the Inquisition, they would just be the Inquisition's really banal, and they just kind of like,
Leave.
Yeah, they just leave.
Well, actually, from specifically what it says for almost, at least for the Society of St Leopold, which is the Inquisition organization that is being formed we're talking about right now. So they're just beginning. But from their perspective and the church's perspective, many of them do believe in the Fae. It's early medieval Europe, like the Fae beliefs and stuff. But most of what they believe in is like the true Fae, the big scary guys on the other side of the hedge.
Yeah.
And so what we call changelings, they cannot perceive, and almost all of their magic doesn't even look that interesting to them, and so they probably don't even know they exist.
So changelings are just like vibing, and they're like, yeah, no, the Fae, they're terrible.
Yeah, if the changelings do end up under the boot of the Inquisition, it's for being weirdos, not for being supernatural creatures.
Or just being a cool goth chick that likes mushrooms.
Yeah, that's the kind of reason they would end up. They're not being hunted like vampires or werewolves.
Hey guys, I googled it. St. Leopold is the patron saint of cancer sufferers and confession.
Ooh.
Well, we'll get to that.
That feels very on brand. I was like, whoever chose this one,
Good job.
Confession, at least. Nail on head. And because you just looked that up, that's perfect timing, because one of the first to learn of these damn creatures was Leopold of Murnau, a Bavarian and Dominican inquisitor. Leopold declared them to be agents of hell and a much greater threat to humanity and Christendom than any mere heretic could ever be. In fact, the vampires, werewolves, and others were signs of the Parousia, or second coming. So essentially, he was able to see vampires and werewolves, and he was like, okay, this means Jesus is coming back, the end times are coming, and it's time to prepare for the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like certain factions of Christendom are just constantly a death cult.
To be fair, if I was some sort of inquisitor, and I found out vampires were real, I would say, you know what, that probably is a demon. From my worldview, especially in medieval times, that makes the most sense.
This does verify a lot of things I've been reading about in my books, which is kind of neat and dope.
Like,
it completely undermines the power of faith because you validated everything, but
Gives me more reason to burn people. Yeehaw! Picks up a torch, throws it at a roof.
Because it's medieval times, instead of it being like a cowboy, yeehaw, it's like ye olde, like yee-haw.
He's laughing. Yee-haw!
So, Leopold actually begins forming his own small group of inquisitors to battle these agents of the Antichrist. And he was prepared when in 1231, Pope Gregory IX declared the start of the Inquisition to root out the remaining Cathars and other heretics. I did note that these dates seem to contradict the history that I was seeing online and what we talked about last week a little bit.
Mhm.
There's some time anywhere. This is when the Inquisition book for World of Darkness said that happened. If you want to make that true in your World of Darkness game and ignore in real life, that's totally fine. It looked like it was closer to 1234 when the final Cathar Inquisition started, but it was also kind of happening this whole time. They just kind of said, "All right, let's finish this up and make it official." So
yeah, and the Dark Ages settings books are mostly like in 1230 is like when they're like, this is the date, and then because game times are wibbly wobbly, some of the Dark Ages books happen a couple of years after, so
yeah. So
was this organization called Society of St Leopold later?
Not yet.
Okay, cool. Just curious.
He just signed a thing being like, all right, I am tasking the Inquisitors to handle that thing.
Well, right now this was the Pope Gregory IX was starting, which I believe was the real Cathar Inquisition. But Leopold himself, when this happened, he already had this group of inquisitors he'd put together. And so he approached Gregory and he requested permission to hunt the supernatural officially. It took some convincing, and only because he already had a outstanding reputation that he was given permission to form the Society of St. Leopold, which was a secret organization designed to root out the supernatural heretics amongst humanity.
Okay. Kind of two things about this really funny. One, in politics, I'm like, oh man, there's always pork barrel spending and everything. You can't just like have one bill go through. There's got to tack on some other bullshit. God damn it. Two, did Leopold, our homie in this like tale of destruction and woe, name his own society, the Society of St. Leopold, at that time?
From what I could tell, probably not. I don't think he was sainted yet.
Yeah, because that was the part that was confusing me, because...
But I'm strictly using that name because I did not see it give a name specifically.
Yeah.
And you can't be sainted until you're dead.
Yeah, that was the part I was trying to get at.
I think it was named that after. We'll talk about his death. I marked it later on, but he does die.
Good news. He was a man.
He will die.
He does die.
He doesn't get turned or anything. He does die, and so then it's one of those things where they kind of have this group name and it seems like they just kind of roll without it having a name until he passes away, and then they name it after him.
Yeah, because that one historically happens a lot. It makes sense. I was just like, two, like, that would be such a weird historical incongruity to be like, oh yeah, it's named Society of St. Leopold. I'm like, fucker, the first step in becoming sainted in Catholicism is you gotta die first.
Yes.
He's like, but I'll get there, don't worry.
I did not
like, wow, okay.
I did not do the homework there because I didn't want to bore people. But if you want to get these books and read them yourself, there are a lot of Catholic terms that they use for specific types of groups and organizations and that sort of thing. I didn't want to weigh us down with too much of that, but there is literally like 3 pages of like Catholic terms to know.
Oh yeah.
For running this stuff.
It's
kind of
good.
cool, actually.
I was just like, that was just kind of like a baby's first, getting into Gothic history, just weird shit that I was like, wait, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also, if you just want to have a fun haha of the insanity, go look up the tales of medieval saints.
Oh yeah.
They're wild.
Batshit. Like fucking foreskin rings, all sorts of crazy shit.
It's a fun time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just to say this now, the actual St. Leopold wasn't sainted until like 1980, I think.
Huh.
Let's see. St. Leopold was canonized by John Paul II during the Synod of Bishops, October 16th, 1983.
Interesting. I know nothing about the real man. I will be honest, I strictly stuck to World of Darkness for this episode, so...
But fun context.
No, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. There are some interesting... I don't know if that he's based on that guy who was sainted then, or they just thought it was a cool name and they made a guy back in the 1231 and named him that.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
There are a lot of saints.
I just like looking at the...
Yeah.
The actual guy. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, you could just have a vampire be really snippy after he's been caught by hunters. Be like, well, actually,
So actually,
You fucking nerds don't even know your own history. I met the actual guy.
to kind of yes and what Sarah was saying, they are not called, in the early years, they're not called the Society of St. Leopold. They are a secret society of inquisitors that root out the supernatural. But at the beginning, members of the society are also doing the daily jobs of regular inquisitors. So they are still looking after heretics. They're making sure people go to church once a year. Doing all the basic things, and while they're doing their normal church duties, they're also keeping an eye out for vampires, werewolves, that sort of thing. So they're more like, and then when they see stuff, they're going back to the others and being like, hey, have you noticed Greg's never been at church during the day?
Yeah.
So they're kind of...
Remember the time he came for, like, Christmas Mass? That, you know, the one we do at midnight? It's like, yeah, it's like, he was kind of, like, smoking a little. I thought it was the incense, honestly, but...
Now
Now that I think about it.
Now that I think about it, it seems kind of weird.
Let's just
He
start-
seemed very uncomfortable the whole time he was there.
And at this time, everyone in the group, I kind of get into these details a little more later, but at this point, everyone now is a member of the church. To be a member of the society, of what will become the Society of St. Leopold, you have to be an inquisitor or other church member, and then you're added to the secret society alongside of it. So they're held to the same standards. You know, they're not supposed to harm people. Again, like we talked about last episode, we absolve you of your sins and then the government burns you for us, kind of thing. They kind of do that
like...
until the supernatural shows up, and then they're kind of expected to be...
That's weird. Yeah. Just like, well, you're not a man, so fuck it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more later. There's a lot of debate even within the society and the larger church hunting group of what the supernatural actually are and how to handle them.
Oh, no.
So that will come up. But so the Cathar and the Kindred were far from the only ones under the boot of the Inquisition, though. Many Christian sub-branches who threatened the stability of Christendom were hunted, and eventually even Jews, Muslims, and sexual deviants.
Gay.
Gay, alongside witches and diabolists were eventually all added to the list.
Oh, Diabolus.
Diabolus, yeah.
He's a Diabolist. I was
Oh,
like, actually,
yeah.
I'm kind of okay with that one. That makes sense. But Diabolus. So
Probably both, but
Probably
yeah, Diabolist is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Too much vampire in my head.
Just, conversing with the devil.
Here,
And you're gay! My god, it's a 2-for-1 deal.
Can't do it.
Splendid.
I kind of hinted at this last time, but some of these new targets are said to be the influence of the Heavenly Choir, a group of mages with great power in the church. For mage players, also known as the Celestial Chorus.
God damn it.
It is believed that the addition of witches and diabolists may have been a play against other mages, and though they definitely didn't lead or start the Inquisition in and of itself. So essentially, the Inquisition was going to happen. People were going to do this no matter what. All it took was 1 or 2 people in power to notice vampires exist, and the church was paranoid enough that someone was going to be like, all right, we got to get this under control. But there's a good chance that some of the mages who are already aligned with the church just went, maybe we can get some of these other people we don't like too.
You know, yeah, so when your paradigm in mage is Jesus,
Spreading Jesus is a great thing.
yeah, and the paradigms that don't agree with Jesus become a problem.
They slow you down.
We can save this for whenever we get M5 and we start doing tradition months. If and when we get to that, I did not dive super deep into it. It does mention, though, in the book specifically that even the Celestial Chorus or Heavenly Choir, as they're referred to in that book, are not just Christians. They are also Jews and Muslims. They're kind of like the Abrahamic religion group is kind of how their magic works.
Yeah, I'm aware the Celestial Chorus is like mostly like the Abrahamic religions all kind of chilling together. I just thought in the context of those within the Inquisition,
yes,
that would mean it was the Christian friends.
Yes.
Are you good?
Sorry.
It would have been the Christian Friends, although there are some groups we'll talk about in a little bit at the end that it's not all Christians all the way through, and it gets a little weird. But
It's just a weird mage parfait.
There's a lot of Inquisitors, let's put it that way.
I was trying not to say baklava again.
But there was a group that they specifically called out in the Celestial Chorus. I believe they were called the Purity Council, and they're essentially obsessed with purity of thought, mind, and body, that kind of Christianity. And some people think it may have been them specifically who were pushing the Inquisition to hunt down mages and Diablos.
This sounds like the mages that eventually become the Puritans.
Could be, yeah.
It was like, no dancing, no music, no fun, no cards, definitely no hookers. And it's just like, Jesus hung out with hookers, man.
Yeah.
and to further that, in 1484, Pope Innocent the Eighth. I hate Roman numerals. In 1484, Pope Innocent the Eighth officially added witches to the list of heretics. Rumors of the Heavenly Choir's involvement persist, but it was never proven that they did it, and it put attention on them, even though their magic would be seen by Inquisitors as a miracle. It's still not the smartest move, and by that that was so much later that it's kind of a weird move for them to do at that time. So
there's a lot of things going on with like the Ascension Wars. That's a whole other splat and a whole other set of problems that, again, we do not have enough drugs about. I have been told, apparently during this month of darkness, that is also happening during Hunter Month. A certain Jason Carl may have hinted that there is supposed to be M5, so every time there's any announcement, all of my WAD friends are just like glued. Currently waiting for an official M5 because Daddy Carl had to drop some breadcrumbs for us plebs, and everybody's like, please, sir. It's very funny.
I love it.
We have till Halloween, friends.
that would be fun. Then we just got to get through the werewolf groups, and then we'll get to all the mage groups right after the clans.
So we'll get there in like 8 years.
Well, thanks to us now having the milk tier unlocked, it's gonna happen a little faster.
A little bit faster.
This is true.
Thank you for the milk. But
speaking of dairy, the Florentine heresy.
No, that is not. Anyway, yes. So Florentine heresy.
It's making an Italy cheese joke.
So
You're a fucking nerd.
In 1658, Raphael Renzi, I hope I pronounced that right.
Raffaele.
Yeah, it's Raffaele. So that's a new spelling of that for me. But he nearly tore the society apart.
Oh.
He was brought up on charges of not only improperly performing the duties of an inquisitor, but in fact of aiding satanic forces.
Whoa! He got ghouled? Did he get ghouled?
No, actually.
Was he getting dicked down?
Maybe.
Hey!
Unconfirmed that he was, but some other people were. We can talk about that.
Ooh.
But rumors made it to the higher-ups in the society that Renzi was not only aware of supernatural creatures under his jurisdiction, but that he administered to them, believing their souls were just as deserving of salvation as any other.
Whoa.
Renzi allowed himself to be brought into the church headquarters in chains without a single word of protest.
Let's go.
The entire society was invited to attend this hearing, and surprisingly a large amount attended. It said nearly everyone showed up.
What the fuck else is going on?
That's true. They're also kind of spread out, though. So this is
I know they're going by the power of horse, but still, what the fuck else is going on?
This is a really, really big deal.
It kind of makes me think of, oh god, what was the name of the case with that's the inspiration for the devils? It's like the Devils of Toulon.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the one where like this one guy in town was so sexy he was like bewitching the nuns.
Oh yeah,
but the nuns just thought he was hot, and then the other people in town were like, "Well, this guy, I don't like him. Sure, yeah, he's a wizard. Conforts with the devil.
Kill him."
The witches won't stop masturbating.
Well,
yes,
we'll get to that, but kind of.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But
cool.
The society had no proof of his accused sins. However, he did not defend himself whatsoever. And instead, when allowed to speak, he spoke on the many souls he saved. the confessions of the kindred he heard, and how he performed the Eucharist on that very vampire. In tears, he talked about how they had been killing those who were still capable of salvation.
Damn.
Aw, he just wanted to be a good little guy.
Yeah.
Also, I'm like, okay, so if a vampire was actually have the Eucharist and keep it down, I was like, does that mean the shit like actually transubstantiated?
It's possible.
Fuck.
Homie definitely had true faith, right? Like, I mean, look at this homie.
I mean, it sounds like it.
Is that how we're testing the true faith of priests? We're like, send the vampire in if they can get through the sacrament and not vomit. It actually transubstantiated and it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, this brings up a lot of questions I was going to save for the final thoughts and how to use this in your game, but like this alone is like
what the
one
fuck?
of the biggest events in the society.
Mhm.
To it still has repercussions like to today in the society. But where was I? Let's see. Yes. He then proceeded to condemn the Society of Leopold for pride. And not living by the word of God, one of love and forgiveness.
Let's go!
I will say they did not give a specific date for when it happened. I believe they are called the Society of St. Leopold at this point. He did die at the hand of a vampire's ghoul, but it never says when it happened. It just says that Leopold died at the hand of a ghoul. So I'm assuming by now he is dead.
Oh. I would hope if he is a man.
Yeah, he should be
by
dead.
1650 after 1230?
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucker should be dead.
Worth mentioning that it is now the Society. They just didn't give a date, so I couldn't tell you when that name actually happened.
Dropped. Okay.
And I may have missed it, but I didn't see it. Just kind of offhandedly mentioned that happens, and that's part of why they don't like vampires the most too. Just kind of it's like a ghoul killed him.
My homie.
Yeah. But
a Dracula.
Damn.
A Dracula got my papa.
It wasn't even a whole Dracula. It was one of them half Draculas.
But after he gave his testament, he was burned on the pyre the next day.
Oh.
Oof.
His followers were then interrogated, and not long after, half of them joined him on the pyre.
Woo.
The
Damn.
other half were sent off to join other groups.
Damn.
One of them specifically said that Renzi had approached him with his ideas, and he had considered them, but decided against. He was burned, but I remember we talked about this last episode. He was burned, and he wore the specific garb of someone whose soul would be saved, and that the pyre was saving their soul.
Oh, like the penitent, like yellow cross.
Yeah, he wore the penitent cross. Renzi himself wore a garb of flames and devils, and was sentenced to hell.
Let's go!
Fucking dude.
And as he burned, he said that if he was going to hell, it would be for being a member of his society and nothing else.
Fuck yeah!
Beautiful.
Hell yeah!
The other member,
this dude's fucking cool.
the other member who was burned talked about going with Renzi to meet a group of pagans, shapeshifters, I believe he called them, and cavorting with them sexually, both male and female.
Oh,
So
Damn.
he was also burned.
yeah.
Yeah.
That one he might have been burned for the gay sex.
Yeah, the book specifically said to double his sin, men and women.
Oh no.
So
not only did he spill his seed,
He put it in a butt.
he committed double onanism. Well, we also don't know if that guy was a top or a bottom, so.
That's true. Maybe he got some seed spilled on him.
yeah.
How dare.
Either way, in an almost unheard of moment, with all the members nearly in one place, the society actually opened the debate about what had happened, and in the end ended up drafting the Florentine Decree, which puts into law many of the things that to that point the society had assumed. So they actually put down law of how the society would work from then on. Some believe that the opening of debate was just to make sure no one else was too swayed by Renzi's arguments, let's say.
It was like, all right, guys, we burnt all the fun people. Anybody else got any comments?
Apparently, some people did defend what he said, and there is no proof of them facing retribution directly. At least in the book.
This
So
room full of hunter nerds. They've burnt the fun ones. Like, anybody else got a comment? One guy in the back just has like a little kazoo. Just, all right, burn that one. He's fun.
He's fun. It's the first kazoo ever made. He's just like, look what I got. Boop. Or it's more of a
That was the
fire.
That was the big history. I skipped a couple. There's some more. There's more in the book if you want to go check it out. There's more of the history. Those were like the big events that I thought worth mentioning. And then the next big one was a reorganization. And I did look it up. This happened in real life and in World of Darkness. But the Inquisition in 1908, Pope Pius X actually renamed the Inquisition to the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith and forbid force from being used by its members. And it actually is real. The Inquisition technically existed until 1908.
Yeah, I need to double check a thing because I'm a bad former Catholic.
And that office still exists to this day. There's actually a recent article of them being interviewed, and now apparently their focus is more back on what heresy was supposed to be, which is them making sure, I believe, that other Catholics are still maintaining the faith properly.
Yeah,
they kind of set like official doctrine for what that means, and they are not involved in.
Okay, yeah, no, I appreciate that because it's kind of I couldn't remember under what time period like the Vatican II stuff really kicked in. Which was like the 60s actually. So the Vatican II is a kind of a reformation within the Catholic Church to be more updated to like kind of modern standards of understandings of things. That's more the Catholic Church stuff I grew up with because my grandparents were very lefty German Catholics that were just like, yeah, no, we volunteer at Planned Parenthood and support the gays, and they did stuff for like AIDS support and shit like that. And I learned about all of the really badass Catholic priests in South America that were just like, oh yeah, these fascist guys that were educated by the schools of the Americas, fuck off. And then they got murdered.
Oh no. Well, that's not the only thing that was reorganized then. I brought that up because alongside that, having been a secret society the whole time, behind the scenes, the Society of St. Leopold was cut loose from the church entirely, becoming its own entity, financially, membership-wise, everything. And no one's quite sure for whose benefit this move was made or whose idea it was. But when the Inquisition was renamed the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith,
Society of St. Leopold was just...
They're like, you're not part of the Catholic Church. You are still Catholics. They can still be priests and pastors and whatever, but...
Priests, bishops, abbots.
Yeah, whatever Catholic position they held previously, they can still hold that, but being a member of the society is no longer an official Catholic position.
That's a separate thing you do, like 4-H.
It's like a hobby.
It's a weird fucking hobby.
What are your hobbies? I hunt vampires and werewolves.
And it did mention that about this through World War I and II, membership had really died off anyway, and it was getting smaller. And I think it was a small enough organization, and they were just kind of like, get out of here. They're already shrinking, and so by the 90s, membership was still in decline. This would be the old World of Darkness time period. But it was only estimated about 500 members total, mostly in North America and Europe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so they did have some in other places, but most of the society that remained were in those places. And being an independent group, the society members often led double roles as inquisitor and member of the church at all levels. So they had to not only maintain their regular status within the church, but then they were kind of moonlighting as inquisitors. So like during the day, they'd probably had to do normal church stuff all day. And then at night, that's when they would hunt.
It's very The Exorcist energy.
Yeah, it's honestly pretty sick. I like that they kind of cut them specifically from the Vatican for a couple reasons. But I think it makes them just a little bit cooler. They're kind of their own rebel priests doing their own thing. But
kick ass for the Lord.
I just keep picturing someone being like, I'm stuck on the hobbies. I'm sorry. What are your hobbies? And then it's just a Father Anderson speech.
Oh no.
And you're like, what?
Unironically, Father Alexander Anderson is one of the most
He's so scary.
terrifying.
He's so scary.
Terrifying. Just any kind of comic book antagonist. I'm just like, holy shit. And he's based off of a real dude.
Ah!
Which is the more horrifying. Because like, he was a guy during World War One.
They just went.
He fucking just bayonets for days.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I can talk about that later.
Hell
Anyways.
Yeah. So, with it cutting its official ties to the church, the society also had to begin dealing with its organizational issues, especially the lack of women, especially in higher parts of the organization. Women were not officially allowed to join until the 15th century. And it wasn't until the membership crisis of the 90s forced them to fully remove their gender biases to become a more equally represented group than even the church itself in the 90s. So up until the 15th century, women just weren't allowed. It was a men's-only group. After that, they started allowing them in, but they almost never got promoted. And then until the 90s, all of a sudden they're like, we need people. Let them in, promote them. And actually had a couple Inquisitor General, which I believe is their highest rank. They actually, by that point in the late 90s, when the book came out, they had 2 Inquisitor Generals who were women. So
I would imagine once you got to the point where monster hunting for the Catholic Church is becoming more of a field that women come into, the pay just went straight into the toilet. It's like nursing and doctors and teachers. Like, as soon as it gets seen as a woman's field, just
Gone.
Well, I bring this up here because it does tie into some of the meta plot we'll bring up later.
Oh,
This is
no.
not just a note. It's an
This
interesting
is also
fact.
just not a joke of Sarah making fun of just the patriarchy.
No, I actually didn't see anything specifically about them being paid to do this. That's the funny thing about faith is sometimes people just do that voluntarily.
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby.
I'm sure the members who are important enough to society don't pay for a thing. They get their bread and wine for free, but it's not I would imagine that it's not a luxurious life no matter what.
Are you telling me they're killing Draculars and not taking the fucking loot at the end?
They're
That's
totally
crazy.
taking the loot.
Oh, they
These
are.
people are fucking stacked.
I don't think the individuals are, but the organization certainly is.
Right.
Of course, the organization is.
Yeah.
Guess who
Especially,
heads it? Usually men.
especially when they stop getting money from the church and have to finance themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, the church is gonna spend their money paying off all those families. That
Womp womp.
womp womp.
Yeah. The group also began having to accept lay people, or those who had not taken any sort of vow with the Catholic Church. So up to this point, whether they were nuns or monks or what have you, they had to have some sort of official vow with the church.
Fucking. Oh my god. Okay.
At this point, they have to start allowing members in the society who are not actual members of the church as far as rank goes. They almost are still always like Catholics, but there's a difference between me, who's like not actual me, but me as a person who goes to the Catholic Church and me who works at a church. It's
Yeah.
That's the change that's happening there.
When you said lay people, I was just like, man, imagining their numbers getting so low they have to include Protestants.
They're like, oh, I almost threw up a little bit.
I didn't go super deep into it. If people want, we can do a follow-up. There are some other religious groups that aren't Catholics, and there are other... I didn't want to get too bogged down in the theology of it. There is that in the game if you're interested in it,
We'll
though.
allow the Anglicans. They're just Catholic light. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everyone else, no.
But yeah, so it also notes that this remains hotly debated till today, at that time being the 90s when this came out, especially in Europe. But at this period, it was estimated that 3/4 of the society's members in the U.S. were not of the church.
Oh,
So pretty
it's
much
just some guy going to
the Europeans were mad. They're like, what do you mean non-church members are going to join the society? And then in America, they're just like, that's all we got. But then again, we also don't have as many like
we don't have
monk orders, and
we don't have a fuckload of Catholics.
and the Catholics we do have. Like my family, my grandmother was Catholic. I went to the Catholic church. They weren't like monks that lived there. Most of it was still like someone's mom volunteered to run the Sunday school group. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't...
It depends on the org, because I know there's more, like, traditional, like, orgs in the U.S. for, Catholics that have, like, dedicated property that folks live on and stay in all the time, and nunneries and monasteries, but...
there's some of that, but
not as much.
It's not as common, and it's probably less common now than it was even in the 90s. So when this was written, so that's something to keep in mind.
Imagine a Society of St. Leopold like subplot in fucking Sister Act.
Hell yeah. I've not seen that movie, but the sequel's good.
What do you mean you've seen Sister Act 2, but not Sister Act?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, she's in both.
Yeah!
Yeah, I know.
I thought she was in the second.
No, she's in both. She's the lead in the first one. She's on the cover.
Maybe I haven't seen the first one.
Oh my god!
The second one's cool because they rap.
Oh my god! What is our friendship? You guys haven't seen the first Sister Act?
I mean,
but
maybe
you've seen the sequel.
Maybe I'm just...
Back in the habit.
For some reason, the sequel...
Maybe I'm just mixing them together in my head.
Oh my god.
For some reason, the sequel has been on TV at a family holiday at least twice. I don't know if it takes place around a holiday, and so they put it on TV, and then my family just has it on.
I do know a weird fact about the first Sister Act movie. There's a very... I'm forgetting... Oh, damn it. I have finals brain right now. I'm so sorry. But there's like a weirdly... Dr. Laura... No, is Dr. Laura that really bitchy conservative radio host lady from like the 90s? I think her name's Dr. Laura. Anyways, that cunt. She was friends with the producers for Sister Act, so the ugly sweaters you see that they're wearing in the film are ones she knit.
Oh.
Weird.
Yeah, weird fact.
Okay. Right. So that's kind of what the church was up to through the 90s. That's what a lot of the content you're going to find for this group is set in the 90s. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and just give a couple updates for what's going on. And then we can talk more about the organization and subgroups. But most of the lore that we have right now is them through the 90s. And then one terrifying fact I found in the Second Inquisition book.
Oh yeah, it's spooky.
So in modern nights, the society has been recanonized and is now a major player in the Second Inquisition and the actions of the Vatican. So the Vatican has decided now that the Second Inquisition is in full swing. They are rooting out vampires again. They decided, we'll bring the Society of St. Leopold back in, and now they are at the tip-top organizing things, at least what it hints at. It doesn't give too much details about what's going on with them, but it also...
Back in the habit.
Yep. It also hints that while some of them do their kind of lone wolf small group hunting vampires individually doing their own thing, that sort of organization with them is rarer than it used to be. And a lot more of them are now militarily organized.
Yeah, and they got a budget.
Yeah. We'll talk about that when we get to subgroups a little bit more, but that's what's going on right now. But yeah, so within 100 years, they went from being kicked out of the holiest house to being rejoined as a secret major player in the war against the supernatural. So they went from kind of like an embarrassment, like, we can get rid of these guys, to like, uh-oh, hey, you're in charge again.
Jeffy.
So we don't...
Come back.
We don't know really how that happened. At least from my reading, it doesn't really talk into the hows or whys. But it also does leave room, so if you want to have society members who are just like, I'm not interested in working with the Vatican. There are still guys who joined in the 90s who are like, that's not how we do this. And just didn't get on board with that. So you can keep those kind of games going.
Why would we validate your shaky house?
Yeah.
There's that. There's also a lot of them just enjoyed not having the overview of the church and how they hunted. There was already all that debates about, should we be killing and burning people in the name of God? That's part of why when they got removed from the church was right when Pope Innocent was like, the Inquisition is no longer allowed to use force whatsoever, and you guys are gone. So
that's always the spooky part with dealing with hunters, is the ones that are like really juiced up on the God thing and the self-righteousness, and they're like, I'm gonna torture the sentient being. It's not really got a soul, it's fine. And you're just like, oh no.
Turns out that's most of these guys.
Oops.
At least.
Welp.
But
But so that's where they are now. There are also a lot of subgroups within the Inquisition. Some of these are from the old books. Some of these are from both. And so I did my best for the ones that were in both to kind of give like an updated middle ground description. And there's some notes I'll probably add that I read after I finished writing this out. And then there's some groups from the old books that I just thought were interesting that you should use in your games anyway because they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
So we're going to start with me horribly pronouncing the Condottieri. So this is like the church's military-like security force. They are tasked with protecting the society's members and holy sites. And while they are considered inquisitors in work, they're more like watch guards for the rest of the order. They're given specific stations. They usually operate in teams of 3. It's like you are protecting the library. You are protecting this holy site. You are protecting this group of society members, Abbey.
Mm.
You are specifically protecting them in the Abbey while they do the hunting. These guys are kind of like security force, special forces guys. So they actually do have uniforms. It does talk about how when they're doing church duties, they'll wear their church clothes, but otherwise they tend to wear normal street clothes because they don't want to stand out. You don't want the vampire to be like, wonder why all those priests are hanging out on my block at night. Which is really funny because in almost all the official art, they're in like the full like robes and collars holding like AKs and stuff. So I think the artist just kind of had fun.
I mean, I don't blame them because that's just kind of fun.
I'm going to kick ass for the Lord again.
Yeah.
And again and again.
It's such a good movie, though.
It's so good.
So you can have your characters who do that, but it does specifically say, at least most of the time, they don't do that. On holy sites, these guys, though, dress more like I think it said, like, Swiss guardsmen, like, with the blue military sweaters, and, like, they don't dress like priests. They dress like a military organization. They are. So if you see these guys, they're protecting the guys who are after you. They're likely not after you, the vampire. Next, we have Gladys Day, which is quite literally the Sword of God. These are the most elite inquisitors, and they're hand-selected by the Inquisitor General themselves. Gladys Day has quite the reputation, that of bullies, arrogance, and martyrdom. Though all agree at their effectiveness, many have a distaste for their general attitudes. They are not popular amongst other society members because they are pretty much all guaranteed to become martyrs, and they are all considered very full of themselves. It's not just them selecting themselves, it's God selecting them from service.
I'm Goddy's special boy.
Yeah, they're God's special boy amongst God's special men. They're described almost as like an order of knights within a secret society.
They truly believe that they have the power of God and anime on their side.
And they might. Here's the scary thing.
They might.
They might be right.
They might be right. No.
And it even talks about them in the Second Inquisition book, the new book. It mentions that they are specifically held for jobs that the Vatican itself deems important, and that it uses First Light as disposable units compared to them.
Wow.
These guys are like, if you run into Gladys Day, you are fucked. You're not having a good day.
You done goofed.
I really like the idea of playing a character who's just like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna be in Gladys Day. And just probably not actually qualified, but that's just his goals.
His goal is just some fucking Catholic weeb. It's like, well, actually, I studied the blade.
Yeah, exactly. I will be in Gladys Day.
It's just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. So these guys, even if you're playing a hunter game where you have players who are members of the Society of St. Leopold, unless you are playing a very, very, very high tier game, these guys are still going to be antagonists, even if they're on your side. They are problems. Because if they're involved in something that you're involved in, you're probably not involved in it anymore. If the Inquisitor General is putting them on to work, the Vatican itself is saying we need these guys involved,
you're in too deep.
Yeah.
I hate my brain because as we're talking about this, my brain just imagined a Catholic priest, right? but instead of having a regular cassock, it's like a Letterman jacket,
Oh my
except it's
God.
black with like white sleeves with like this overly ornate cross on the shoulder. But the collar still is there.
Yeah.
And he's just like shoving like lower priests into lockers that for some reason are in this cathedral.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They
Just lifts the seat for the pew for extra storage, shoves a guy in there, slams the pew closed.
apparently they do have a symbol. If I'm remembering properly, it's like it is a knife. It's a pointed down so that from a distance it looks like a cross, but it is like a pointed
Just a
knife.
Hmm.
So they do stand out. Next,
This jock priest, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I think you'll like this next group though. They're fun. They're very mysterious, which I like. But next we have the Order of St. Joan. So they're not directly members of the society, but actually their own organization that works next to the society. The Order of St. Joan is an autonomous order of female inquisitors. They were founded back in the early days of Leopold's crusade by Jeanne Roulette, a French woman who began recruiting other female inquisitors to fight the forces of evil. Remember how we mentioned Society of St. Leopold, men only.
Yeah. So, fuck
So
it. The
she
women
was just,
formed their
"Fuck
own
it."
group with blackjack and hookers?
Maybe. We don't really know. So,
Oh, no.
eventually, as humans do, Jeanne died. And she was never officially canonized. It said unofficially canonized, which I don't really know what that means. But the church, the Vatican, never officially recognized her sainthood, but the order just began referring to her as our saint and treating her like a saint, named themselves the Order of St. Joan, and the church never really seemed to protest or care that they did it.
Yeah, I am aware, because there's a lot of Catholic mysticism. It's almost like there's a lot of parallels between European paganism and then when the Catholic Church spread across the world, their indoctrination of other indigenous cultures of just taking in these like multi-god pantheons, and they just were like, just put a saint on it. Fresh coat of paint, a saint, whatever. So I know it's not unheard of for local areas to deify a local person like they're a saint, but the church hasn't actually like officially given their mea culpa on the situation.
Right.
But it's also so popular, they're just like,
Right.
They don't really care. They're kind of like,
it depends. There's a lot
It'd be
of politics.
more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, they're just like, we got him on the list. They just got to perform like 2 more miracles post-death, and then, we'll bump him up on the list.
So
Post-death.
So
Love it.
I think they're interesting because when female membership was allowed and welcomed in the 15th century for the Society of St. Leopold, the Order of St. Joan was actually invited to join, to like form and become one group. Few of them, if any, accepted the order to join the Society of St. Leopold, and the merger was flatly denied. No reason has ever been given, but they still operate today as their own society. Only women are allowed to join. I believe it said that no members of Society of St. Joan who joined Society of St. Leopold have ever moved up in that organization whatsoever. And the few times that they meet with members of Society of St. Leopold, they either go to them or they have special places where they meet, where they allow guests, and no member of Society of St. Leopold has ever been into one of their holy buildings.
Gal pals.
So there's a lot of mystery about what they're up to, but I think that's really fun.
That is really cool. All I can think of is just they're all lesbians. That's all I can think. It's just like they were roommates.
The biggest air quotes.
Confirmed bachelors.
Confirmed bachelorettes. Just very That's fantastic. I love that. That's super fun.
Yeah. There's a couple others that I really thought were interesting. One of the biggest, the Children of Lazarus.
Oh, God.
These inquisitors believe that the destruction of vampires is more important than any other work the society could follow. While other supernaturals will die a natural death anyway, vampires may well be here until the end of days unless they have something to say about it. One of the largest groups within the society, they believe Leopold of Murnau's death at the hands of a vampire's ghoul is proof enough that they are a major threat, and will go so as far as to disrespect, mock, and mess with those who seek other foes within the society.
You you're not hunting vampires? What are you hunting? Werewolves? Pussy.
Yeah. Werewolves, ghosts, changelings, mummies, mages, anything is a waste of time if it's not vampires. That's what these guys believe.
Mummies. You
And
really want to get wrapped up in that.
It's most of them. Uh-huh.
You gave me shit for the habit joke.
Yeah.
10 minutes ago.
There's also the Fathers of the Good Death. I think these guys are really cool. They would get along with they probably get along with the Children of Lazarus, but they have a different belief about it.
Mm-hmm.
So this order believes that vampires are the remaining evil spirits from before the Great Flood. Admitting only fully ordained priests, these inquisitors believe that those spirits are the reason for humanity's moral decay, and that by destroying them, they can restore balance to nature.
I mean, that's not that far off.
Like, the vampires avoided the flood, so God missed a spot.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that it specifically says that they will bring balance to nature by destroying these spirits that have been around since before the Great Flood.
Well, yeah, because humans weren't supposed to be fucking the Nephilim.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the Nephilim shouldn't have been that hot.
exactly.
Also, God shouldn't have made us that horny.
Also true.
Yeah. This is actually God's fault.
Gosh dang it.
I got one more for you. There's a bunch. I could talk about some of their organizational groups are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The other big one that I think is worth mentioning is the San Benito. They're named after the clothing that Renzi was forced to wear during his commitment to the pyre. These inquisitors believe that the souls of supernatural creatures are not beyond saving. While not truly an organized group, many members of the society have contemplated the words of Renzi or felt pity for a supernatural creature in their duties. But how long before someone with those beliefs is found out? How will the society respond to those found aiding demonic forces now that the days of burning are gone?
But they're back
they'll
again,
probably still
baby!
kill 'em. Yep.
So it specifically mentions that they're a group, but it doesn't really talk about them being organized. So essentially, even within the society today, there are still people who goes, wait a minute, that guy may have had a point.
Wait a minute, am I a bad guy?
Yes.
Wait a minute,
Okay,
hold on.
so
That's the hard part about World of Darkness, though. There's a lot of groups that you could be like, yes, you're the bad guys. Sometimes these guys might be the closest to getting it right. Maybe a little less torture, a little less burning, but like John said, like not that far off.
Not that far off.
Mhm.
I think narratively it'd be really cool if you're just like, oh yeah, I set up a bunch of these Society St Leopold like big bad guys, and then you just kind of set up one guy that just like kick the shit out of your guys' group, and they're like leaving for whatever reason, and they just kind of turn back and they just look like kind of sad. So your vampire has to sit there and be like,
what?
the fuck? Did
I make him cry?
wait, am I a person still? Hold on. This has caused like 12 layers of existential dread. Hold on.
Love it.
Just fucking, and then the San Benito guy's like going to confession. And he's like, I didn't finish the job.
I didn't finish the job.
I should have finished the job. I didn't.
couldn't.
But like, he looked at me and it was just sad. You're just so fucking sad. Oh my
I like it.
God.
I also like the other side of it,
Mm-hmm.
where they're like, maybe it just is too conflicting, but they're like torturing vampires into, well, do you believe in God now? We can fix it, because they're just so, we can save their souls. We just gotta convert them.
Mm-hmm.
That might not work with the Benito thing.
Just, you
But-
don't believe in God enough. You keep having the Eucharist, and it doesn't transubstantiate. You gotta believe harder.
Believe harder.
And this vampire's just crying and vomiting.
Right.
There were two other groups that I think are kind of worth mentioning. I didn't mark them down here, but I think they're worth mentioning. If people are interested, go check them out.
Yeah.
I can't remember the names, but there's one group. These are all in the original Inquisition book. There's one group that is actually, instead of Catholics, they're all Jewish. And they actually use some magic to hunt the supernatural, and they don't hunt mages at all for that very reason. I thought they were kind of interesting. There wasn't a lot of detail in there. That is also a subplot through this where they're constantly debating, and it kind of mirrors the history of it.
Yeah.
They're constantly debating whether what side of magic is okay and how much is okay, and should we be hunting witches?
Yeah,
and
it kind of goes back to the old existential questions within the Inquisition. They're like, okay, if we're gonna accept miracles and supernatural things, what of this is of God, and what of this is the trickery of other things, and therefore it becomes heretical? Like, who knows?
There was a group that I can't remember the term they used, but I believe for Old World of Darkness they would have been sorcerers, so not full mages, kind of like the ghoul of mages, we'll say, for shorthand for people, but who's always existed within the society, and there's always been one official head one, appointed by whoever's Inquisitor General, and no Inquisitor General has ever outlawed them.
Yeah.
But a lot of the Inquisitors don't like them. So there are some sorcerers. They also sometimes work with the Arcanum. We're not going to get into the Arcanum. I decided not to touch that until we get M5 or Sorcerer or something. But they're basically a group of scholars who just learn a lot about everything. They're another hunter group, basically. And they have very deep lore. But we're not going to get into that.
Yeah,
but
the Jewish group I kind of find interesting because there's the long treatises of, like, Kabbalic magic.
Yeah.
And also Judaism as a religion, and I'm just saying this as an outsider, is a religion where people are much more expected to directly confront God and have arguments with God. So I find that to be very kind of interesting as an Inquisitor, to be like, just like, should I be? Fuck.
Yeah, so...
But not as an org, just to himself.
Yeah.
Just a guy being like, fuck, I've killed a bunch of these Draculars, but, like...
Yeah, so
what if I'm wrong?
They were kind of a cool group. Definitely check them out if that's your interest.
That in the
original
Dark
Inquisition
Ages Inquisitor book?
No, it's just in the book called The Inquisition,
Okay,
which is
cool.
I believe it's still a vampire book, but it's not specifically a Dark Ages book because it has the history through the Dark Ages, but then it mostly picks up with player aids in the 90s.
Okay, cool.
So it's...
I just want to make sure we weren't pulling from, like,
no, we're not
that
pulling
same
from...
book that I'd mentioned in the last episode.
No. And there was one other group that's kind of the same thing, but they were Muslim.
Okay.
But I am not Muslim, and I'm not super well versed in their religion. There's some people in the server I could ask details on, but their snippet to me didn't make sense at all. But the concept was interesting. Essentially, is like the society doesn't really trust them, but they're Muslims who use the power of jinn to fight satanic forces. I think they're trying to say they use the jinn to fight, like, Diabolists. I think that's what they're trying to hint at. Infernalists, yeah. But from my understanding, like, conferring with the jinn is not a good thing to do if you're a Muslim. Like, that's like saying, I'm using the power of demons to fight Satan. To some degree. It's like along the same lines. It's a very short line, and I think someone had an idea and just kind of threw it out there and moved on.
That's the starting plot of the John Constantine comics. That didn't go well. I don't know if anybody's noticed for him.
It's obviously a very large religion, and a lot of people have different beliefs on that, but from my understanding... the jinn they are creations of God, and they have souls that can be saved, and it is not up to the individual Muslim to look down on them because everything is worth attempting to save. But also they are tricksters and not good, and they will lead you down a bad road and you don't trust them. Yeah. So
save them very carefully.
Essentially, it's that the people I was listening to discuss it anyway. I've listened to a couple different things on this, but essentially they were saying it's more of a story in that it's more something to strive for, but it's wholly unrealistic that you'll ever do it. It's kind of like this grand task would be to save the soul of a jinn, but to most people that is an impossibility. But through faith and everything, it's not fully impossible.
Right.
There's a lot more to it than that. But at least from my basic understanding, that group does not make sense. So Also because, at least from my understanding, Satan would and demons, as Christians believe them, would not exist separately. They would be considered jinn. Like, pretty much from a Muslim perspective, supernatural creatures are all jinn. That's kind of their word for it.
Yeah.
So, like, to say they're using jinn to fight demons is, like, nonsense.
Yeah, and, like, I'm vaguely aware of some Islamicate, like, occultic practices, and some of it is focused on just wards and protections and, like, no jinn ever. And other ones are like, yeah, I can commune with the jinn because they're essentially like a nature spirit. So it kind of depends on the context and things, at least from my outsider's perspective. On the little bit that I've looked into it, it seemed akin to me, kind of how, like, back home in Scotland, people deal with quote-unquote the Fae.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's an entity that exists and it will fuck with you, so don't fuck around. But, like, if you leave it a cookie,
In the same
it's
way,
really not that bad.
in the same way, modern people will do their new age bullshit, but be like, no, I'm in church every Sunday. I'm in highly Christian. I just sun my perineum because that's how we get power from God or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like a folk belief blending with a
Yeah, and there's
religious belief.
Yeah, and there's folk Christianity where they do, like, folk magic stuff, but I'm more aware of that, at least in the context of the U.S., that being more of like a Southern Appalachian thing, and that's a whole other context.
Yeah, and the you could have society members who are into that kind of thing if you wanted. There's not really a specific group that I've seen for that in Hunter. There was in Chronicles, but this isn't Chronicles.
You would think this would be like a prime chance to delve into the, like, Latin Catholic experience, especially with a lot of focus on, like, Santa Marta and all the other various forms of death-related sainthood things in those cultures. You'd think that would be a prime opportunity to be like, hey, you want to make sure it's dead?
I didn't see much or any of that, but I only stuck to those 3 books. That very well may exist in a 4th or 5th book that I didn't look at. That
just seems like something that would come up because there's a lot of Catholicisms in Central and South America, and, you know, with the Sabbat vampires being fucking crazy in those areas, you'd think.
Yeah, it did mention there was a section I skipped where it talked about the church organization in different countries. So if it was a paragraph at most in that area. I kind of skipped over that because I didn't think it was worth delving. I thought that was like if you want to run this, go look into it yourself kind of detail, and I
do like that the vibes of the 90s Society of St. Leopold's very... That intro sequence in the 2004 classic film Van Helsing, where there's all the different faiths in the workshop creating, like, monster hunting weapons.
They're
kind of had that energy.
A little bit. They're very Catholic, though.
The workshop was hidden under the Vatican.
That's true. In Europe, they're very Catholic. In America, they're kind of like
Catholic.
Christian is kind of more the vibe I got, where they're kind of just like. But either way, yeah, so those are some different subgroups within.
Hell yeah.
And then I had some what I thought would be cool plot hooks, storylines, and maybe you guys can throw some at me too.
Zerk.
But specifically as vampire antagonists, this is how they're most often used in game. And all it takes is a bit of evidence of one's true vampiric nature to slip out for the society to come hunting. They're like
masquerade breach.
How rare I actually see, like, not just hunters, but them come after kindred. Please send some priests after your players.
Don't worry about that.
They won't forget.
Don't worry about that.
Oh no. But then, like Sarah mentioned earlier too, you also have vampire clans like the Sabbat, or specifically the Sombra, who have a lot of ties to the church. So they often walk a dangerous line in just dealing with the clergy.
I am a priest. I exclusively work at night because that's when the most souls need to get saved. And he's like, you sure about that, buddy?
Really? Because I've noticed you have like 12 people come in for mass.
Yeah, and your reflection in the baptismal pool over there that we dunk the babies in, fucking whack.
One thing that I thought was specifically interesting, a lot of the old books were written from a in-universe character, and there wasn't a ton of that in the old Inquisition book. But from some of the snippets that were there, it seemed like this information was being given from a society member to a possible vampire, and the society member seemed like they may have been a member of the San Benedetto, and we're pretty sure they were about to get found out.
Oh no.
So
That's kind of cool.
yeah, so there is some cool plot there alongside that. I also mentioned this, and I think Sarah brought it up a little bit earlier, is what happens when a vampire with a high humanity throws himself to the mercy of God and an inquisitor? What happens when you have a higher humanity than the priest trying to hunt down the evil beast?
Let's go.
What happens when a high humanity vampire truly seeks redemption?
What if you got embraced and you're still just like, I'ma still go to church?
If you don't have a folkloric bane,
There's really nothing stopping you.
you quite literally could go. The only thing is that whole true faith thing.
Just because somebody is a hunter, let alone a hunter for the Society of St. Leopold, does not necessarily mean they actually have true faith.
They don't.
But someone might.
Someone might.
God, that's gonna make fucking...
That's
gonna make the Easter potluck really awkward.
Just being around someone with true faith isn't painful, is it?
Depends on the strength of it.
That's fair.
So it could just be uncomfortable but not painful, or it could hurt to look at them.
Right.
Yeah. Or it could just be that uncomfortable squicky of just like knowing you have fallen out of the grace of the Lord.
Right.
And you're just like, am I the bad guy?
Yeah, it's kind of that. Even if it doesn't like hurt,
Right.
you're literally looking at them reminds you God exists and he doesn't love me anymore.
Right. Right.
Psychic emotional damage.
Got it.
But
and then you had some more.
yeah, so I really like using these guys for Hunter. I think my biggest complaint with H5 was it gave us all those cool organizations and said your players can't join them. They're antagonists only.
Jokes.
But don't do that. In fact, I think you should allow your players to join the Society of St. Leopold or Special Affairs Division when we get that book next year. And I had to rewrite this entire series because I decided to push talking about them back till I had an official book.
Thanks, Renegade.
But yeah, Hunter, let your players join Hunter organizations. It gives them a reason and a purpose.
Let them join the org and still have the org be an antagonist.
Yeah.
That's like almost the entire plot of the fucking X-Files.
Yeah, that's the plot of the X-Files. That's mostly how Vigil worked. That's literally how joining the Camarilla or the Anarchs or the Sabbat works. Like, just...
If you want another media fucking inspiration, Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Clarice is joining the FBI, but she's still having to deal with the antagonism of just the sexism of the FBI in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's like you can have organizational structures be part of something a character interacts with like directly and still have it be an antagonist. It doesn't have to be this looming thing in the background.
Or it could be even a neutral entity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just there.
I'm a entry-level member of the Society of Leopold, and the dots I put in contact is someone from the Society feeding me information about my hunts.
Could you imagine a game of Hunter with the Society of St. Leopold, but it's essentially just the IT crowd? It's just like 3 priests that are like the guard priest for like an abbey somewhere, and then they just get up to shenanigans.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Love the shit out of that. And occasionally a Dracula shows up.
Yep.
Yeah. And even if your party, no one in your party wants to play a member of Society Leopold, that's fine. So, but what happens when this society shows up anyway, and the Hunter party finds themselves losing control of the operation they started?
Oh, could you imagine getting kill-stealed by the Society of St. Leopold? Yeah. Like, you and your little, like, HOA, your fucking Hunter squad have just been, doing your night patrols and whatever. And you're like, all right, guys, we've organized everything. We're going to get this going. You start your operation, and then you just hear the silencer of a sniper rifle just takes out the vampire in the window. You just see him burst into flames because it's like a holy water infused, like 50 cal round. You happen to look over, and you just see the round glasses sheen catching in the moonlight of just some fucking psycho priest on the rooftop.
Yes.
Like, horrifying.
Love it.
And then he walks up and asks you if you pray.
Oh, no!
Ah!
No!
Because
I like this.
it does specifically mention that a lot of members of Society of Leopold, they're found. You don't decide to join. They're usually either members of the church who have a run-in with the supernatural and then confide in a priest or the local news, they find out and they approach you and say, well, you're Christian. I can, not only do I know about these things that attacked you, I can help you fight them.
Clearly the Holy Father put you on this path, and I am here to shepherd you through this great tribulation.
Yep.
They're just as likely to find hunters and be like, well, actually, I can prove that God exists and he can help you in your fight.
Clearly you are driven with conviction, but you lack a resolution.
Yeah, so
Love it. Gimme.
yeah.
I don't have religious trauma, it's fine.
I also like the idea of having one of your players secretly be a member and not tell the rest of the party. And, you know, all of a sudden this information that's getting fed to them for their hunts is coming from somewhere.
Yeah, do you just have like an info guy in your hunter cell? You don't really think about it or whatever, and then one time the party decide, like, for some reason has to go to some, like, charity event, so everybody has to dress nice. And then that one guy in your party that's always got the intel shows up, and he has a Society of St Leopold, like, lapel pen. And you're just like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, oh yeah, it's just something I got from
Or
church.
just
Don't
wearing
worry
a
about
priest
it.
collar or something.
Just
I like it. I like also the idea of them showing up and, like, accusing you of being like, you're trying to protect them. Obviously you are, or else you would have killed them by now.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're like, oh, hold on. The Society of Leopold thinks I'm the bad guy?
What?
Oh, no.
It's like, yeah, I didn't kill Jerry. He pays his fucking HOA dues. He mows the lawn.
Right.
And he fucking only drinks bagged blood that he buys. He's literally not hurting anyone. And they're just like, I don't care. It's Dracula.
It's Dracula.
Well,
Now
actually-
take this shotgun and use it on him, or I'll use it on you, and then him.
Because clearly you aren't a willing agent of Satan, are you?
Right.
Well, actually, we need to talk because
Oh, no.
when I kill people, it is under the jurisdiction of the Vatican. When you do it, though, it's a sin.
Shit. Got me there, homie.
Could that...
Would you like to join up?
Yes. Now, you can proceed with your penitence, obviously, because you do have a soul that is capable of being redeemed.
Yeah.
For now.
And there is tons of information on the inner workings of them and their organizations. If you're into this and you want to run this game, go check out that Inquisition book. It's great. There's a ton of information. I just didn't want to bog you guys down with all the different ranks and how they deal with, like, people who make mistakes and cause problems in the organization, how they handle, like, all that. There's a lot of that in there, and it is an interesting read, but I didn't think it'd be super great to talk over. But
If y'all want
it's
that,
there.
hit
It's
us
there.
up. blankbodies@gmail.com.
I'll do a society part 2. We can talk more about some of these subgroups. I can find other books that talk about them. We can make up our own information. Who knows?
Society Part 2, Back in the Habit.
Oh no.
I hate you.
I also wanted to mention werewolves again.
Werewolves real quick, sorry.
Yeah. So they mostly ignore them in modern knights is one thing I noticed. Another thing that's interesting in the Second Inquisition book in general, seems like werewolves kind of dropped out of favor in the group. They're not super after them. Maybe because there's not a ton left and they're not
Yeah.
super organized anymore. But it specifically stated that the guru who find them, this is from the 90s, but the guru who find themselves the target of the society may be surprised to see a general lack of worm taint in most of its members.
Most. That's an interesting phrase.
Yep.
Most.
It's interesting in both directions, honestly.
Yeah. Also horrifying. But also it's just like,
It's horrifying that they're not, but it's also horrifying that it's most aren't.
yeah. And I also just horrified at the Society of St. Leopold just looking at the guru and going, that's a self-solving problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much like the one group I mentioned earlier, the Children of Lazarus. They're essentially like them and mages. They, unless they are insanely powerful and they may not even know it's possible, live the general lifespan of humans. Why waste our time hunting down a thing that'll probably get wiped out anyway on its own?
Unless it's actually causing a
When
problem, why
we-
fuck with it?
When we could be hunting these immortal demons from before the Great Flood.
Yeah.
Like, it also specifically says that they generally don't know about mummies. And if they run into the one, they have no understanding of their cycle of reincarnation. They essentially see them as like a one-time living dead. So they might like put it down and move on and never think about it again.
It's like,
even though
it's one of those Giovanni things.
even though he may literally reincarnate back in his body a week later, they're not concerned about it. There were some that dealt with wraiths. There was actually I figure if we get Wraith, we'll talk about it
Yeah.
when we talk about Wraith antagonists. But I believe they're called the Tellurians, and they can literally walk into the land of the dead to take care of spirits that they don't like. So,
God, that's metal as fuck.
That's really cool.
but other than them specifically, they mostly don't give a shit about ghosts. Typically, there's one specific group that's like not them, and otherwise they're kind of. And then we have very little on Demon in 5th edition.
Yup.
They've been mentioned, basically. Most of them don't like demons, but they don't know as much about demons. It also hints that there are a couple specific groups that very much don't like them and actually aren't worried about vampires because they're after, I believe it was the Society of St. Michael.
That would make sense.
And they're hinted it existed since the early Roman days and before the Society of St. Leopold. And they were specifically soldiers, war veterans who decided to take up the fight for God afterwards and hunt. It was hinted that they mostly hunted demons. And when the Society of St. Leopold started up, they're kind of like, you guys want to join us? And they're like, sure. So they're like kind of members of the society, but they're doing their own thing too. So you could have some Diabolist hunting society members who were like even barely involved in the society.
The Society of St. Leopold's like the JV team, and then the Society of St. Michael is like the varsity team that's been around since. Shout out back to the ministry episodes when I was like, yes, remember when Jesus woke up and all the Christians just had mage powers for a few hundred years, and it made Set angry to the point that he just exploded.
Yeah, some of those guys probably formed the Tellurian.
Yeah, just a couple of mad lads were like, I see what the Romans are doing with like accepting Christ into their hearts, and that's great, but like I still got shit to do. Cocks a sword.
Let's go.
I'm gonna fight demons.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's so metal.
That is a very intense person to hang out with. Someone who is just like, vampires? Not something we really need to worry about. Demons? We're going.
Actually a problem. And it's like, yes.
You're correct, but also could we just chill for a second?
Aren't those guys not also demons? And it's like,
no.
No.
Not at all.
I believe there were also some witchfinders who specifically hunted mages, but they were one of the smallest groups. I think.
Also, hunting mages is one of those either extraordinarily difficult or way too easy problems.
Yeah.
Well, it's also one of those things where if a mage is at all smart or good at what they do, their magic doesn't appear as magic.
Yeah.
And so you'd either have to be hunting incredibly poor mages or incredibly arrogant / powerful mages. And again, that also kind of becomes a self-solving problem if your spells look like spells enough to get the local priestry after you.
Paradox will just take care of it.
Yeah.
Just a witchfinder from like from New England, because I just love the witchfinder general character from Antunche. He just actually finds a mage and he doesn't know what to do about it. And then the problem solves itself because a paradox demon just pops into existence and just goes, haha, got him, and fucks off. And then he's like, I don't know what devilry is this. And just burns the cabin down.
Cavorting with demons.
Just because he doesn't know what else to do.
Yep.
But yeah, I
I've
think
solved the devilry here.
Yes.
I think that's a good intro. Do you guys have any final thoughts or questions on these guys?
I like using these guys as antagonists. The good news is in most of the stories I have run in 5th ed, I have had Society of St. Leopold in the background in every game I've run. None of y'all have fucked up enough for me to actually make that a problem.
Huzzah.
So good job. But that was my back pocket of like, oh, they did what now? Fascinating in the back
Here we
pocket.
go.
So I have now just like a tracker for masquerade breaches. And I got trackers for a couple other things. And I'm just like, all right, I'm just waiting for them to tick the boxes.
Fair enough.
I like them as antagonists because I feel like they bring up a lot of interesting questions about the metaphysical world of darkness that a lot of other antagonists just don't quite scratch. Like government hunters, whatever. Cops come after people for all kinds of reasons. Wars start for all kinds of reasons. It doesn't really matter that they're supernatural creatures. But them being of the cloth and having their faith be what drives them specifically to hunt vampires does like put a lot of things to question on the table when they're hunting a vampire who also happens to be a Christian, like a Giovanni who's like very, very religious still and still of the cloth. It's like, but wait a minute, I believe what you believe. Like there are a lot of ways that like as an antagonist even that like they might question what they're doing or cause the player or their characters to question who they are, what they are. Like you always say, am I the bad guy?
Am I the bad guy? Fucking, all I could think of was just a very Catholic Giovanni having an existential crisis lying on the floor because he's like, I had to attack a priest. Oh no. While I was defending myself. And he's just like having a rambling panic attack on the floor, but to his like zombie who's just kind of standing there.
Yes.
It's just his emotional support zombie.
That specific one.
Yeah.
He's got an emotional support zombie.
Yeah, that's all. I've set him so he doesn't attack.
This is my pacifist zombie.
He's in a little sweater. He's just sitting there absent-mindedly, like going through his little rosary bead, just like freaking out.
I love this.
And he's like, what am I going to tell my mother? Oh my god, what am I going to tell my mother? I can't tell her I attacked a priest.
Can't do it.
I can't do it, but she's going to notice he's gone next week. Fuck. That's the lower tier ha-has, and then there's upper tier ha-has where you're just like, okay, I went to church, and this priest made me really uncomfortable, but when I actually did the Eucharist, it actually became the thing, and I didn't have to excuse myself and go to the bathroom. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Imagine doing the Eucharist and like, oh, you can take away a hunger.
Yeah, it's like a hunger. It's like, what?
What?
That was the cracker part. Here's the juice part. It's like another hunger. What?
Love it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm only at 1. That's fine.
Uh-huh. That's terrifying.
You're right.
I'd just be like, what do you mean? No. And I was like, okay, so now do you go to church all the time or do you never go back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As confusing as it is for the World of Darkness to kind of yes and just every religion, I do really like the implication that like, yeah, something's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's something happening and you're not a part of it because half your soul is now dead.
Whoops.
Whamp, whamp. Half your soul's dead.
Womp,
Well.
womp. Just the poor emotional support zombies just like shrugs. He's just like,
And that's kind of the bummer of it too. It's just like, unless you're like a white, half your soul's dead, but does that mean half your soul is redeemable?
You can go to purgatory, but never past it.
Can you get the other half back?
Is that what?
If you eat enough other vampires, do you get the other half? Because you're getting little bits of soul each time.
I think, but I think
Diablo 6.
But you think
vampires.
you get? Yeah, I think.
You get a full soul for free.
But I think you get some of the beast too, which means you have more demon in you as well. And then,
so you can only eat Christian vampires,
or just vampires that have a lot of faith.
Yeah. High humanity.
What if I
vampires.
Diablo as a vampire from one of each major religions, and I just get the whole set,
There we go.
and I get to put them together like Exodia?
I'm pretty sure that like saving your soul and being like a normal non fucked up demon soul is one of the theories of Golconda.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not the main one, but I'm pretty sure that's one of them.
It seems to be canonically the most successful question mark.
The best case scenario is you do achieve humanity 10 and save your soul and never do anything ever again because you have humanity 10, and if you think an impure thought, you go back down.
But then what is an impure thought?
We already did the Salubri.
We did. Check those episodes out.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of Golconda. You hit humanity 10, you become a human, and then time catches up.
Mm-hmm.
You just fucking die.
That's great. That's why no one ever sees it.
Yep.
That's super fun. Also, I secretly also deeply love the idea of there just being a super, super Catholic vampire that somehow is able to hang around just like with a weird independent cell of the Society of St. Leopold.
Yeah.
that is hunting other fucking vampires, and the other Bernardinos are just like, he's a proof of concept, guys. He's a proof of concept, though.
He's a proof of concept.
Like, look, he has so much faith. Look at him.
He's killing other vampires.
He's fighting the demons, mostly without his own demons. Sometimes, though, but everybody struggles.
Right.
That's hinted at a little bit in that like meta plot in Inquisition. It didn't go super deep into it, but like I said, it does seem to be a big cache of information being given from a society member who's probably a Benedetto to some sort of kindred who might also be a member.
Oh.
So
Probably not as likely an actual vampire, but like a revenant ghoul.
There it is.
yeah,
I
could
like
be.
it.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be much more likely. Oh, that's no.
And it does specifically say that the society very much does not like ghouls because one killed Leopold of Murnau. So,
well, what sinner would be better to redeem than the one that's
Abradovich? Yeah, sure. Good luck.
Yeah.
yeah, I think they're great. Great antagonists, just great characters in general. So I'd like to see people use them more.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, that's the first part of our Hunter month.
Month by Hunter.
Hunter month by Hunter. I had to change things up a little bit because of a surprise announcement, which I'm glad. I want a special affairs division book, so I will wait a year. Next Hunter month, we will talk about that. I will put that episode, and I was mulling it over, and I think I just need to tackle the big elephant in the room for Hunter. And so next week, we're talking about the Imbued.
Let's go.
What they were, what they are, what we actually do know about them in 5th edition. They are in 5th edition to some degree. They are not the main feature of Hunter, but they are not non-existent either. So we'll talk about that. I have a theory that we'll probably just get a book down the road that expands upon them and gives us the full Imbued, but they are around. So we'll talk about what we do have, what we do know, and their history. So you can use them if you like.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're going to talk about some of the new organizations that were created specifically for 5th edition, because I think there's some really cool ones. And I want you to use them and let your players join them. And I don't care if the book says no. I did long ago when I first did my Hunter series when we talked about it. That's the first thing I did was I just ran my players in one of those groups. And it was a lot of fun. So we'll talk about that and how little you have to change for that to work.
Right.
Surprise.
But it's a good time. So that was my plan for Hunter month. And if there's anything about those that specifically you'd like me to tap into, hit me up on the Discord, because I've already had to rewrite this series last minute. I do not have a problem adding some details if people have questions.
Fuck yeah.
Yay.
Speaking of, thanks Paralyze for music.
Yeah, thank you.
The music is cool. The music is bumping. Check them out on Bandcamp.
It goes boo-doo and boo.
Yeah. We have the community Discord that's open to everyone. We have a couple areas, though, that are exclusive to our patrons. You fucking mad lads.
Yeah.
They've yet again unionized to fuck me, specifically.
We hit milk.
We hit milk. Milk has been hit.
The lactate shall flow.
Unfortunately, we had made plans for all of our
Lactose?
holiday scheduling up until the end of the year, and then y'all hit dairy, which we appreciate. Thank you for hitting the goal for 500 a month. So that we'll be doing 4 episodes a month as opposed to 3, and you'll still get your bonus patron episode a month.
Yeah.
We just have to figure some shit out with our holiday schedule plannings. So be ready, kiddos. It is on the way.
I believe so far we've written Hunter month. We'll go a little past October, and then we will have a Ravnos month, and then it'll probably be the milk episode, and then our normal holiday break.
Yeah.
And then we'll start 2025 off.
4 fingers deep every month.
Yep. That's 5 episodes a month with your patron episode, so.
Yeah. More. Oh my god. I didn't need the visual, which the audience will not get, because this is an audio-based medium. If you wish to continue to participate in the Patreon things, which also gives you access to polls for voting for things on the show, and character sketches, and show notes, and all sorts of other goodies, please feel free to hit up our Patreon And we appreciate your guys' support on doing the thing.
And we got a bunch of Patreon episodes up there. We just uploaded... Excuse me, I burped. We just uploaded one recently. And because we got a little behind from Gen Con, there are 2 more coming this month alone. So coming up next week, we're going to have vampires in other role-playing games. Somebody talk about some of my other favorite tabletop vampires. I will say probably not Strahd. That might get saved for its own episode because there's a lot there. But we'll be talking about other tabletop vampires. And then Sarah's got a poll up for our patrons right now, which might be ending soon. But it's last we saw, it was a 2-way tie, you said?
2-way tie.
3-way tie to a 2-way tie?
You guys keep it at a tie. I'm just going to put the fuckers on a wheel and spin it.
Don't encourage them.
I don't. They don't need encouragement.
That's true.
They just do it on their own, and I will not abide this. It's not my fault. Our listeners are all brats. Drink water.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. But yeah, come hang out with us on Discord. Join us on Patreon. We got a bunch of stuff for there. Like I said, bonus episodes, character sketches, blood, all kinds of rewards to help us keep doing this show. We also have an interview series. If you have tabletop projects or spooky goth nerd shit you want to come and talk to us about, let us know. We'll have you on. We've had all kinds of people, and it doesn't have to be VTM or World of Darkness related. Just come talk to you about your cool project. And then I think that's it. If you're a real vampire,
hit me up.
Hit John up.
John wants to interview you.
Just hit up Blank Bodies and in the subject say, I need to talk to John. And then Hunter will tell me about it.
That's true. I'll probably be there for the interview
It's a good
because I run those. But we'll interview if you think you're a vampire. If you are a vampire, that'll be fun.
You
Yeah,
got
for
any
sure.
cool project involving tabletop gaming, LARP, music, cards, arts, live plays? We like supporting the community.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. I got a final to finish.
I gotta eat.
I gotta go
hungry
pray.
as shit.
Do you? What have you done?
I've been reading a lot of books.
Shit, son.
Oh.
Got all these
Lord.
ideas in my head.
The Lord does not like you having more than the one brain cell.
I think you shouldn't.
That's given me a lot of credit.
It is.
Bye. Can't find the mouse.
Oh no.
It's hidden
No.
behind
he
that
lost
one
it.
brain
Not
cell.
one